Hey there, and welcome to the A.D.K Rock and Metal channel. I, of course, am Dave. My other hosts, Kirk and Andy, are off doing fuck knows what they're doing, but they're doing something else. And I'm joined today by Ryan and CJ from the wonderful Drowning Pool. Welcome to the channel.
Hey, do you say Kirk or Kirk?
Kirk. We call him Kurt sometimes, but we call him the other word that begins with a C and a T, but we're going to call him Kirk today.
So, Captain Kirk and Andy is fucked off today, huh?
Yeah. That sounds about right for them. Just leave
All
me
right.
to do all the work.
Man, ain't that that's bullshit. they're probably out right now at some bar being like, yeah.
I wish. No, Kirk tends...
They're sucking up all the credit and you're back here actually doing the work.
You guys do the hard work, man.
That sounds right, yeah. Kirk tends to do the interviews with the extreme metal bands.
Okay.
So basically, anything that I would never listen to ever, he will go and interview them. And Andy picks the sludgiest, doomy death metal bands, and that's who he goes and speaks to. I do everything that's groove and hard rock or new metal or any of that. That's my area, so that's where I come into it. So we do kind of split our workloads, which makes it a bit easier on the channel.
Heavy metal, rock and roll, groove metal.
That's all me. That's me. Right, I have got a ton of questions I'm going to go through. I usually try to make the questions make sense in some sort of timeline flow. That's gone completely out the window here today. I'm sorry, it's just that they're all over the place because I just kind of started brainstorming. But I'm going to pick on the very, very first question I want to talk about, which is, it's weird, but to me, Drowning Pool is very much a groove metal band. That's how I would define if someone was to say it. However, when the band broke in, so when you're talking about 1999 going into early 2000s, and you've got things like Bodies kicking off, you got thrown in with new metal, and everyone was like, "Yeah, you're a new metal band because Bodies," and then new metal around 2003 bit the big one, and everyone was like, "New metal sucks, we fucking hate it." So, was the fact that you got thrown in with the new metal scene a blessing or a curse?
I think it's the time frame. It's like any band, I think it's just more a generalized thing. Like any band that came out late 90s, early 2000s, they just consider the era new metal, not so much the style. I would think. I mean, call it whatever you want. I don't have a problem calling it new metal because it came out at that time. But we're definitely a heavy metal band. We do some heavy stuff. We kind of cover a wild variety of styles, if you will. But the groove metal that you mentioned, that's kind of where we fit in.
Yeah, because if you break down the bands from that era, there's a lot of difference between a lot of the bands. So I mean, calling that group of bands one thing, nowadays it'd be completely different because all the bands that used to make up the new metal thing would have like 13,000 different categories nowadays because that's what people.
And whatever you need to call it.
Yeah, but as far as your question goes, I consider it a blessing. I mean, I'm indifferent about it, but I'm happy about it now because you see new metal making a resurgence, and people are both fans of music today, fans of metal, fans of rock, are going back and they're if they lived through it, they're going back and they're reminiscing and they're embracing it again. And people that didn't necessarily live through it are going back and hearing those bands again because the radio is picking it back up. The radio is pushing it again. The tours, these tours are getting put together and stuff where the new metal thing, whatever the hell it is, it really had a resurgence here. So before I'd say whatever, I'm indifferent about it. Now I'd say, to answer your question, it's been kind of a blessing because being considered that era, we're part of that whole resurgence again.
If you like new metal, then call.
Yeah,
we're here.
I've only got a couple of other questions about Bodies, and then we're going to move on to other things. But I have to ask: are you sick of playing Bodies?
Oh, absolutely not, man. I love playing Bodies. A lot of bands get weird about that. I don't understand that. You know, it's probably, yes, it's the most recognizable song, but we have so many other songs.
You do, yeah.
Radio songs that even superseded Bodies, but you just know that because Bodies has been around for so long and it's been used. You know, we've been very fortunate with wrestling and movies and, you know, commercials for toothpaste, like Device on the Floor, ooh, whatever you want to use it for, bro. But I look forward to it because whether there's two people, I'm just making
toothpaste.
Toothpaste. I'm just trying to find something new. It hasn't been used for yet. Toothpaste. I got 4 teeth in my pocket to my mouth. You know, the other ones hit the floor. I don't know.
There you go.
Anyway,
it's interesting with Bodies because of it's one of those songs, especially if you're into. Because I was thinking about. I've seen it so many times turn up on TV shows and like America's Got Talent, and every single time that someone seems to be doing a rock or a metal song on The Voice or America's Got Talent, Britain's Got Talent, they all seem to be pulling out Bodies. So when that happens, do you either have a sense of pride if they do it well, if you see
I love it. Whether they do it well or not, it's always a compliment because there's been several. I mean, dude, there's been a lot of different like cover versions of it. There's one that's most notably, yes, but there's several different ones. There's like a puppet one. There's like Elmo singing it. And I have like 10 other versions of Bodies. I make fun of it myself anyway. Like, I wouldn't say make fun. I just parodies, man. I have like a mandolin version. I have this Justin Timberlake kind of a dance version just for fun because it's that kind of song. It's got multi-uses. It's a compliment to me. Like, go have fun with the song. We have fun with it every night. The fans have a great time with it. So it's just one of those songs, man.
And like he was saying, I hear that a lot too with bands that when they've had that big hit or whatever, they're like, oh, I hate that song. Like, man,
embrace it, brother.
all the bands that you know of today that have been around for 20 plus years, like we've been blessed enough to be. The whole reason is there was one song for all of those bands at the beginning. For all those bands, there was one song that sparked it, which is the reason they're still here today. For Drowning Pool Bodies, you know, Stained was Mud Shovel. You know, it was. And you just keep going on down the line. Yeah.
Horn, you know, Blind. I mean, they have amazing songs, and we have, you know, again, we've been, you know, over the years. I like to think we got a little bit better with instruments, but they've evolved so much. But you know, all the new stuff that we have out. I mean, I love all the music that we play with. You know, especially new songs we have with Ryan now are just even equal to or even more jamming than Bodies. Like, I can't wait to get that stuff out to it. There's a lot of songs in the catalog, and it's fun to play shows like, oh, I didn't realize you had this song. Oh, I didn't realize that was one of your other singles and stuff. Until you hear. And again, you don't have to know the name of the band. Just enjoy the music and have fun with it. And Bodies is what brings you in. Bodies brings your body up in it. Then come on, get on in there.
Because just before I came on, we got together online. I actually read something. And it was the first time I've ever come across it. I don't know if this is true, but I have to ask it. So I've read that Bodies was used consistently by interrogators at Guantanamo Bay in 2003 and also in 2006 where it was played for a 10-day period. What was that about? Did you know? Is this true?
Well, of course, your people will have music every day. Just if you come to the show, listen to it, right? No, you know, that has nothing to do with us. I mean, the song is out there. People listen. I've heard these stories and stuff that they were used to you know, interrogate people or something like that. But, you know, listen to heavy metal over and over again for me, man, that's fine. Just keep on playing it. I'm not telling you anything. So I don't see how that, you know, I don't know, man.
You know, I couldn't tell you whether that's true or not. I have no idea.
Yeah,
I wasn't there. I didn't hit the play button. I have no clue. But I know there was so much stuff that's came up over the years about the song being used this way or that way. My favorite story is I believe it was Rolling Stone. I think it was Stevie Benton, our bass player, that did an interview. I want to say it was Rolling Stone. I may be wrong with that. But they asked him something along the lines, and I'm paraphrasing right now, something along the lines of, this was like during the thick of the war down there in Iraq and everything. And they're like, how do you, and the story goes that a lot of the troops were listening to our song, listening to the Body song, to kind of get themselves pumped up and get them ready to go do what had to do. And they're like, how do you, but the way they phrased it was something along the lines of like, how do you feel about your song being used in like in the realm of killing or however they put it?
Yeah.
And the response was great. The response was, you know, if listening to Drowning Pool gets that man or woman in the right frame of mind to go do what they have to do, and they get back safe and sound because of being in that right frame of mind, then turn that song up to 11, do what you need to do in order to get home safe and sound. Oh, sound check time. Hopefully you can hear us.
Still hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. It hasn't blasted out. So,
we got background music now.
Yeah.
Hopefully Zoom filters that sort of stuff out, so that should be all right. How tempting is it, especially with older songs, as you're playing things like off the first album and so forth? You've played them the same for so long. How tempting is it to go and change it up and do things differently or make new? Because I know you do it with Bodies Live. You do a little bit of it's different to what it is on the album. So how often do you want to do that, or how often do you do that?
It's different every night. I mean, honestly, set list wise alone, we have a big catalog with Ryan singing back with us. We had a lot of great songs of the records we've done together. So we mix it up per night. We have some staples out of there, but with every tour, it just comes naturally. Like the beginning of Terror Waste evolved into its different thing, and same thing with Bodies. The way we started or ended, it just really play off the crowd. So it really is kind of to me, it's different every night from the energy from the crowd, and yes, we do change up the flow of the set list. So.
Just the background music made that seem really emotional.
So when we play Bodies, okay. I feel like
I've got the most fucked up soundtrack.
It's all right. Zoom's doing well. Zoom's cutting all the background music out, so you're doing all right.
That list is fresh every night, man. It's awesome. It's exciting. You have to come to every show to really get the full experience.
Every
different every day.
So when I was listening through the albums over the last week. I've gone through all the different albums, listened to them back and forth, and each album, although it's its own entity, they all kind of make sense. They're all within a very much a Drowning Pool style. Do you, when you're writing an album, know that that's the style that you're going for? Or have you kind of gone, do you know what, we're going to throw in some symphonic stuff and do some keyboard parts? Have you ever kind of thought, we're just going to go really fucked up and go down a concept album route? Or do you just go in there with the mindset of just writing what you want to write?
We write what we feel in the moment. We're not a very heavy program type of band anyway, but with the last record, just because we had time with it, Jesus Christ. I put a lot of electronic stuff in the background, but I keep it low so you have to hear it in the headphones. It's not at the forefront. But there's a lot of programming on the last record that I did. Just ear candy stuff, So ear candy, is that a good one? I like it. Yeah.
I'm going to ask a question around. So obviously, Dave passing really early after the first album. I wanted to know is if Dave had been in the band now and had been with you for the last 20 years, do you think Drowning Pool would sound the same as it does now if Dave had been the singer from day, or do you think that we've gone in a different direction?
You want me to talk about an alternate universe in which I'm not employed?
Well, you're off doing Soil still, so you're just doing Soil for the last 20 years.
Oh, thanks for that. Enjoying the shit out of this interview, man.
We'll come back to you in a minute. Don't worry, Ryan. You just go get a beer or something. You're fine.
Go get a beer. I look at it like this. Like, of course, what I bring to the table writing, because we all bring ideas to the table. I mean, I write how I feel in that moment in life. I think Drowning Pool has a solid foundation sound between Mike, Stevie, and myself, because we've been writing together since right after high school. Obviously, we had a couple of singer switches, and that kind of has a different flow with it, but I think the solid sound that we have has always been there.
Okay.
I think that
I'm about to piss off Ryan now as well. I'm about to piss off Ryan.
It has been if or not.
So, next question then. So, when Jason obviously decided to leave the band, was there temptation to go down the route of looking at various different singers, or was it a case of just straight on the phone, Ryan, we want you back?
No, it wasn't going to get any more singers after that. And I'm so good. Right place, right time.
We're all glad that you didn't. We're glad that you got Ryan in. Just saying that.
Oh, yeah. No, we were not here. We were doing songs. We started playing shows as a three-piece, which I prefer not to do. I just want to play my guitar and sing backups every now. I'll count to 4. It's my goal in life. But it's my goal. But without Jason Moreno there, we had shows lined up, and we did them as a three-piece. And we had a lot of big shows coming up the next year, and we hit up Brian, who was available and strong as ever, singing with Soil, and it just made the sense. And just reconnected on a new level, man. It's awesome. Be here now. I'm yelling. Why are you yelling?
So, Ryan, when you come into the band, coming into the band after various different vocalists, do you have to try to be like 100% truthful to the parts that the previous vocalist did, or do you have your own way of interpreting them, or do you just have to literally be like, that's how Dave sang it, so that's how I need to sing it?
I've always been a one-trick pony. I've never considered myself to be someone that's like, I always say my window of ability is about that big. So it's I've always been forced in a way to do my own interpretation, because I've never been like, even back in the day, I was never in a cover band per se. I was never one that could like mimic other people. When it comes to Dave's stuff, I've always tried to do my best to try to at least travel in a lane or two going the same direction as he did, but
it's like
that was just out of respect, you know. You bring that up, and it's going into, as we've been writing again here since getting back together, because we've all just gotten on fire with the whole new material stuff. I have gone back on, I've kind of studied the way Dave went about his structures and in his wording and phrasing, and so I've kept that in mind as I've listened to some of the stuff that this Stevie, Mike, and CJ have been throwing my way, and just trying to keep that in the back of my head, because I just, he's such a significant part. That era, Stevie, Mike, CJ, and Dave all together, the four of them together, was such a significant aspect of this band that I've been trying to keep that a little bit in my brain as it's hard because I'm just excited to be like doing music with these guys again, but at the same time trying to keep that in my head about, trying to keep that little tip of the hat going on.
So I was going to say, with the fact that you're doing obviously Soil and Drowning Pool, doing vocals for both bands, so you have to sit there and actively try to ensure that that you can kind of go, the vocals for Drowning Pool have got to sound slightly different to the vocals I'm delivering on Soil, so it doesn't feel like I'm just between the two bands, or do you just kind of go in with the same delivery?
Yeah, just like CJ just said, I think that happens naturally. The music styles are just, they are different. There's more melodies, vocally speaking. There's instrumentation wise, there's more melody in the Drowning Pool music, so therefore that's reflected within the vocal patterns. There's more melody within the vocal to match the fact that there is music. Anyway, but and the biggest problem that I have is there's been a couple times here we've sat down and we kind of figured, there needs to be a little bit of break between each, and that hasn't happened a couple of times. So it has left me in a position where I'm wandering around outside the venue right before showtime, having just came from one leg and getting ready to start another one, and I'm trying to remember the lyrics to the other. I'm trying to remember.
Right, lyrics has got to be the hard one for you, I would imagine, because you're doing Florida songs, and then like the next day you got to drown up songs. And in the middle of this, we're working on new songs, so there's new lyrics. So I can probably explode it, but man, you've been killing it. We just started, like we're just doing this. This tonight is the last night of the second leg of the Snafu tour with Drowning Pool and Saliva and Any Given Sin, and from here on out, it's all Drowning Pool 100% of the time, all through the summer and everything. So I don't have to worry about that whole brain scramble, man. It's just we are crushing this summer with Drowning Pool. It's like let the hate. Like what?
What the hell happened?
Well, that's just when you get the microphone, you hand it out to the audience. That's when you forget your lyrics. You're like, sing. Shit, now I remember what it is now.
I do that about 75% of the time. Yes,
it's awesome too. At this stage of the game, and it's I know again we've been around for a little while. I don't always do math in the family, but we have fans that are the same age as us with their teenage or early 20s kids, and they're all singing along to the songs. So it's fun anyway, because we do have a lot of fan interaction and a lot of fans singing anyway. So when I'm looking down, I'm like, is that what we say right here? Oh shit, I didn't know.
I would like when I screw up a line or something, and you'll see somebody down in the crowd and they're singing along with you, And then as you screw it up, all of a sudden they start getting this confused look on their face, like maybe they think
maybe they're screwing up. So we just act like nothing happened and just keep going.
Just go.
Just go.
Run like hell.
I had a guy the other night count. He was like, it's like 1, nothing wrong with you. 4, and then he went 5, and it almost made me say 5 because I saw him say 5, and I'm like, dude, can we count to 4 twice? It's fun, dude. It's a live show, man. We have fun with it. Anything can happen. Anything can happen every night.
I have a question about the fact that nowadays, like back in, I guess, how do I best put it? When you were forming a band back in 25 years ago, having a record label was essential because they were the people that got your music out. They knew all the relevant PR companies. But nowadays, is there any benefit to or what is the benefit of having a record label now?
Well,
because everything's changed.
So we had 3 labels. I mean, it's, again, very fortunate. We had a first label wind up, and they did wonderful things. They did that ran its course. We were at Alan Kovac for a while, and then we got on. We were on E1 for a minute, and we had horrible management at the time, so that ruined that situation. And then I didn't want to sign again, and we got a deal with Universal, which was probably, for me not wanting to do it. They kept sweetening the deal because I was like, I ain't fucking signing anything else again. But we did, and then they really fucked us so hard. So now, after the 4th time of getting fucked in the ass, I think we're good here.
I think.
So right now we're fully independent management and label. We're good. We're going down the independent.
Can you say "fucked in the ass" on here? Is that?
Can you
on our channel?
Okay, I didn't know.
Say what the hell you fucking like. It's fine.
That's how I feel about labels nowadays. Get it out! Ow! It burns. It burns. So yeah, we're independent now. So I think for our band starting out, it's important to have labels. I'm not dogging on labels. They do help bands get stuff out there for the low price of all your money. But other than that, like at this stage of the game, people kind of know the song. I think by now, if they're not sure, we play by us every night in case you never heard the song before. We count to 4. Get ready.
Yeah.
So I really like being what's going on all the time. Our career, the last years, we got more stuff done than last year. We got in the last 6 years because of management label we had the last 6 years failed us miserably. That's God honest truth. Without being a shithead about it.
The biggest positive about being independent is now we're controlling we're controlling what empty hole we're burying our money in. Instead somebody else speak.
Instead of here's all my money. I hope you do something. Here's our money, and we're making investments, and maybe we made the right call or wrong call. But at least we know where
it is. Yeah, it is cool to be in this position, and we're in this position because of the success the band's had over the years, and to be able to have control of our own future and decide what individuals we want to work with, what publicists we want to work with, what marketing team we want to work with, what radio, we can actually handpick the individuals that we want to work with because they're either people that we've worked with in the past that we respect and we trust, or that because that we have learned from friends of ours in the industry that they're people that we should trust. And
as a band, as a whole, man, I think it's even brought us together even closer. Besides the fact that writing music together and performing together. Now on the business side of things, the last year, every one of us kind of taken on a different role in the band to get stuff done. And I think that's also made us a stronger band. And that stuff comes through in the music, man. You'll hear it on the new stuff. That we so close to getting out to everybody, man. I can't wait. It's exciting because it is intense. It's more, like I said, equal to or more intense than what you hear at bodies. I'm not blowing it up. I'm just telling you that's where we're at right now.
Because awesome. With the new material, etc. Because previously you could spend a whole load of money in a recording studio. You spend 20, 30, 40, 50,000 pounds in a recording studio. You can spend a lot more than that, but around that sort of figure. Record your album, you put it out there, you'd sell CDs, you'd sell it, and you'd get all this money back in for merch. Now that doesn't exist anymore because it's all on streaming and Spotify fuck over musicians left, right, and centre.
So we just at a time is the kind of path we're on. A few songs at a time, which I think is great because you're focusing on these and you're spending the time on that. Get to the next group of songs instead of like just cramming it all in, in one session.
So how much of it do you do more DIY style recordings in the sense of home studio recordings, or is it all still in the larger studios?
I have my studio set up at the house. I've recorded other bands before, so it's not. Yes, it's in my home, but it's at home. I have some quality gear. We have a guy, Sean McGee, we've been working with that has a studio in Vegas, but he's also mobile. So we got a lot of the first group of songs done in Dallas, and we're gonna go finish up some parts after this tour, and put the final touches on it. So it's just easier nowadays with modern technology. You don't have to have the one set studio to go to. But even so, with that, working with Sean, it's there. But it's again, we're trying to do 2 or 3 songs at a time instead of blocking off 3 months at a time to do like 11 to 15 songs.
Which is great because just like you said, we don't have that. We don't have that. That doesn't work for us.
We don't have that much upfront money. We just have like whatever we get from catering today. Like I got $20. Hold on,
Yes.
$20. Use that for the studio.
But no, since we've gotten back together, the demand, the offers, the people interested in having us do like all the DWP fest that we got going on here in the States this summer. Being able to be a part of that, having the interest, having the offers come in for that stuff, it's really limited the amount of time that we also then have to. We wouldn't be able to go in and block out like a month and a half to go into a studio. So the fact that technology is the way it is now, whether Sean McGee coming to Dallas working with us or us popping into Vegas when possible, and who knows what might be coming up. I mean, there may be a situation where we fly him to Tallahassee. It doesn't, but because of technology being the way it is today, we're really able to work the recordings into our schedule, how it works with how we have the shows lined up. So yeah, the technology is great for the situation we're in.
Yeah, we just got an Airbnb before we left this tour just to be away from everything. Set up separate from that and just jammed in there, man. It was perfect, just some place where you can all be in a room together and focus and get the stuff.
Because with so much changing since the early 2000s, because you've had that journey of almost effectively 25 years in the industry, it would have been a lot easier back 25 years ago. Stretch those, crack those knees, and elbows. 25 years ago, you could have made a career and made a reasonable career in the music industry. How hard is it, or how difficult is it to maintain a life as a full-time musician?
Man, the roller coaster ride's been big time up and down, especially, with COVID, that affected everybody. It's like anything, I guess, with people, you have good years and bad years, but right now, it's on the upswing. It feels like this is meant to be, like things happen. Even you take the good with the bad, and sometimes like horrible things happen. You're like, why is this happening? And it leads you into a better position. So I feel grab right now. But maintain it. We have the love and passion for it. So you just keep, plugging away, as they say. Just try to keep it going. We've been friends for 20 plus years, and we all love doing this, and we all make it work together. So.
Because it seems like one of the main ways that bands can actually only earn their money is basically on concert tickets and merch from shows, which, although we know that the American art model for merch percentages is a bit of a hot topic, because we don't have that over here in the UK. We have to give percentages of your merch profits to venues, and
you have to give percentage to it, and I just don't understand that. I think that the talk has always been, well, we want a percentage of your merch because your fans might buy a merch instead of buying some of our drinks at our bar, because that's how the bar makes money. So I'm like, well, what if my fans buy your drinks and they don't buy my shirts? Why don't you give me bar sales? Well, your bar sales are going to be way more than my freaking merch sales.
Yes.
I have the pride is what we get from that merch. So I think it's a pretty shitty move. It's always been a crappy move for venues to take, especially at this level. Like, dude, if it's Kiss playing arena and stuff like that, or it's Tool playing, maybe, Metallica, I think they can afford to give you 20%. But here, like, we live off this, and you still take 20%. But we do it. We play the game. All right, you want to pay us? Yeah, cool.
So what pisses me off is the fact that your big companies like Live Nation and a lot of them are finally starting to come around, and they're realizing how it's been wrong. Taking a percentage of bands' merch. It's a whole nother level, even like on a tour like what we've been on. Taking a percentage of Drowning Pools for Live's merch is fucked up. Taking a percentage of Any Given Sins money is super fucked up.
They're not getting paid anything, and all they live off is that. And you taking a percentage of dude, they're just lucky to be here, man. They're trying to scrape by it, and it's just wrong, man.
So it upsets me that you have these big companies like I said, like I believe it's Live Nation. Is that the whole House of Blues thing?
Yeah, the House of Blues. They were like, you know what, we're not gonna, that's nickel and dime. Like $200, $400 to you, the venue. Like for somebody like Any Given Sin, like that's their dinner and gas for. Dude, do you really need that? Is that extra $200 what is that gonna do for you, bro? Like this band's trying to make it, and you nickel and dime them. That's what you do. So just leave them alone, man. Just come on. I know you made. Our fans drink. You have no idea how many shots they buy. I know you make $1,000 at that bar, bro. You have no idea how many drinks I get bought. So they're not buying you meat merch. They're not buying you. They're buying me shots from your bar. So you making your trust me. Don't take my merch. So I'm a little passionate about it. I'll try to calm down now.
It pisses me off that you have the big companies that are finally admitting how it's been wrong, and they're trying to make good on it, and they're getting rid of those percentages and stuff. But yet you still have these little venues. They're still fucking doing it, and
it's just insulting at this point. Just come on.
I'm ready to just dig my purse and find another fucking band.
Yeah, we're just not gonna play. Or like my favorite's always percentage of bar, and they look at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, well, what if they're buying you drinks and not my shirt?
Yeah.
Okay. What if they're buying your shirt, not my drinks? No, they're buying you drinks. I'm looking at these shots in front of me. Look how wasted my face is. All right, I already got 20 shots. I already got 2 beers and 3 shots. Come on.
Okay. I'm gonna want to ask a question.
Yeah, I like that question. I'm gonna make sure that's in every interview from here.
Yeah, I get the percentage things always winds me up, that one. Ryan, I want to ask you a little bit around soil. And one thing that happened in soil, we're pushing Drowning Pool to the side for this one moment. Sorry, CJ, just over that way a bit. Because I've seen soil many times here in the UK. So I never got a chance to see Drowning Pool, but I've seen soil loads.
About time you get to see Drowning Pool.
We need to come over and play it for you, man.
Yeah, when you next come over, I'll definitely do that. But every time I saw soil, I noticed during Halo, Ryan, you go into the pit and you sing the song from In the Pit. Where did that come from? Was that just a spur of the moment thing one day that you were just like, fuck it, I'm going in the pit for Halo? Or was that something you thought about and then...
It started with Drowning Pool. We used to throw him in the pit for bodies. He didn't have a choice.
I think it started... I mean, man, I went through a pretty serious alcohol phase there to where there's a bit of blur. But I believe it started with my first scent with Drowning Pool, and just having that feeling of just going out and mixing it up during bodies.
Right, okay.
That kind of carried over when I went back and started singing for Soil again. That kind of just carried over. It's that end of the show adrenaline. It's that you've been pushing yourself and giving it everything you got all along. The crowd's been doing the same thing. You have that connection going on, and it just I just want to get out there. And I think that started with my original run with the Drowning Pool and with the Drowning Pool and Bodies. Just that feeling of wanting to have that final release that night. The live show is all whether no matter what side of it doesn't matter what side of the barrier you're on. So much of the live show is about making memories and everything. And I can't think of a better way to end the night than just to get down there and just be down there together.
I think it's awesome, man. There's only twice that you come back a little beat up, a little scarred. But for the most part, everybody respect. But I forgot which one. It was a while ago. It was back in like maybe 2010 or something. But Ryan was out there and he, anybody see a singer out there? And he just throw him back up on stage. Oh, man. Be gentle, man. He's got to sing again tomorrow. Come on, now.
Because I have to ask, anything strange ever happened when you went into the pit? Anything random, weird, odd?
Show us on the doll where they touched you in the pit.
Right. Exactly. No, not really. I mean, we did Drowning Pool did a welcome home show out in Washington, somewhere a base out in Washington State. I want to say Washington because I grew up in Indiana. But in Washington State, there was a welcome home show at one of the bases, and they were welcoming home a bunch of 2 units of Marines back from being over in Iraq. And the party was being sponsored by Jägermeister. So here's these 2 units of Marines that have been in a dry country for like 9 months, and they're coming home to a party sponsored by Jägermeister. I jumped into that crowd. I knew without a shadow of doubt that I was absolutely safe, and that those men and women would they would never let anything happen to me. But at the same time, I was scared shitless because, man, that was a party. I mean, there was some serious like releasing of emotions going on in that. I think I've had more crazy happen on stage, as far as having like ripped up pants or something, and some. I hope it was a girl.
In Seattle when they had like a wheelchair came up? It was like a wheel, part of a wheelchair and like a wheel, and then next thing you know, this person came up on stage.
Yeah, it came up in parts. It was like
it was like wheelchair parts, and then the person that was in the wheelchair in the pit, and they're like, "What am I gonna do?"
Yeah, there's been plenty of weird moments.
Got a few little questions left before I can let you go, obviously, because you've got your show tonight. But obviously, back in the 90s, in the 2000s, it was very much within bands that you would do almost a 6-month writing period, and then you'd go out and do a tour cycle for about 18 months, and then you'd be back in the studio, do another 6 months writing, recording, back out on an 18-month tour cycle to promote that album. That doesn't seem to be the case anymore. So what's the fundamental changes that you've seen within the industry that's stopping that from happening?
Well, I think the fact that hard copies of albums aren't selling anymore is a huge change within the industry. Just like CJ was saying before, our plan moving forward is record a couple new songs every once in a while, release a track, release it to radio, release it, do all that with it. But sitting down and going in the studio for 4 weeks, 6 weeks, and going through all the expense of putting together hard copy CDs and vinyls and all this, you're losing money. And as you said before, as I think it's becoming common knowledge, the only place a band makes money anymore is on the road. So when your means of profit, when your means of keeping the lights on at home is dwindling, when that's dwindling, you need to start being more mindful of how you're spending your bucks in order to still be able to do what we love to do and what people allow us to do by supporting us. And that is, no longer is it reasonable, no longer is it feasible to go in and spend the money that it would cost to be in a studio for 4 weeks, 6 weeks, to then turn around and have all that stuff printed up and mass produced and everything. Yeah. When at the end of the day, it's not getting bought at the same degree that it used to be. So, CJ alluded to it earlier, you go in every once in a while, every 3 months, every 4 months, whatever. You go in, you record a couple songs, you release one as a single. At the end of the day, maybe in a year and a half time, you have 12 songs, something like that, written and released. You can then take that 12 songs and then release that in like a limited edition, or not limited edition, but a limited number. You can have those 12 songs then printed up in vinyls or in CDs and stuff, so that it is available in a hard copy for those diehard fans that would still love to have that. I'm still that guy that still loves that. When I love a band, I want to have that in my hand. I still want to look at the inlay. I was of that generation. I want to look at the inlay. I want to read the thanks list. I want to go through all that shit, just like I always did. So, after a certain period of time has gone, and we've released enough, we have released enough songs that we now have an album's worth of material. Then we'll release all that material in one form of hard copy of something that we can release. So, like I said, I'm just repeating myself, but so that those fans that want that hard copy can have that in their hand. But to do that in the mass scheme the way it used to be, like off the bat, it doesn't make any sense monetarily anymore.
No, I mean, we were actually talking about the whole idea of singles versus albums on the channel a while ago, and we're all big fans of the album. We like to sit down and put an album on and listen to it from first song to the last, and go on a journey on it and see if there is a journey. Now, some bands put out an album and it's just 8 to 12 songs of singles, and there's no correlation. They haven't thought about when you listen to one, how does it go into the next one? Does it feel like it naturally, the energy levels go the same? And But some albums you listen to, and even if it's not a concept, you can still feel that there's been a thought process between the songwriting. You can feel that they do make sense as a part of an album package. And I've actually just got back into that. I've actually been pulling all my old CDs out, and I've been listening to it in the CD player in the car, and just starting to listen to albums again, and thoroughly enjoying it.
But I think where we'll be okay, even in that regard, is the fact that like every band that I've been involved in, the writing process, I've never been in a situation where you went into a room and you're like, we're going to write an album now. You know, it's always been, the writing process has always been over an elongated period of time. Some of that time has been when you're actually on the road touring from the last album you did. So the songs were never like, from my own experience, the songs were never like you walked into a room and you wrote an album. They've always been the songs range from like 9 months of what was written there, and then you sit down and you kind of put that album together then as far as the running order goes, in order to achieve that feel that you're looking for, that feel that you're wanting to get across, because all that music came from the same four people, or depending on how many people are in the band. So if you wrote what you feel, if you wrote what you are, then I think that cohesiveness is there. And then it's just a matter of putting the songs together in a way that they make sense to you feel wise. You know, they make sense to, they make your heart beat in the right direction type thing. You know, it's that whole, if you're writing what's true to you, I think no matter how the length of time it is between songs, if you're writing what's true to you, then it's going to make sense together. If that makes any sense, what's coming out of my fucking mouth.
It does, don't worry. I've got 3 last questions for you. So obviously you've got Soil, so I'm only this question relates purely from your drowning pool time. So what's been your proudest, or what's been one of your biggest memory or your most memorable moment of your time so far, obviously now and also your first leg with drowning pool?
It's been so many. I think being invited to do and doing the USO shows and the MWR shows and the being involved in the Wounded Warriors Project and being able to be a part of the different military organizations that bring entertainment to the troops overseas and stuff. Just the relationships that we've built with them, that's carried on. Like a couple of my closest friends to this day are people that I met over in Iraq in 2005, where Marines and soldiers and stuff from back then that I'm still friends with to this day. But it was that feeling of being able to bring something from home to those men and women that needed something from home. And that was such an amazing feeling to be able to be a part of that. And still to this day, I mean, we just went over this past Christmas season. We left December 23rd and we got back January 3rd. And we went over to Poland and we played for a lot of the soldiers that were based in Poland that were able to go home for the holidays. And thankfully, we have a bunch of very understanding wives and
yes, I was going to ask
other paths in their lives. They were very understanding, and not just understanding, but supportive of it. Once they, hey hon, you mind if I go away and do shows for over the holidays? Are you effing kidding me? And then you tell them what it's about. It's like, yeah, you go do that. So yeah. But being able to be a part of that stuff with Drowning Pool has been just one of the biggest highlights of my life. And it's carried over. It's not just U.S. military. So much of that stuff was done at coalition bases, and I got as many Royal Air Force and stuff patches on my walls as I do U.S. Airborne. It's been such a just a great family to be a part of, and when you ask about Drowning Pool in particular, that's definitely one of the biggest things, being able to be a part of that, being able to being able to be a part of carrying this torch, you know, and not just carrying it, but also we've done pretty damn well for ourselves in this lineup. You know, we in the U.S. alone, we wrote 3 of the band's highest charting songs in the band's history, and that's including, you know, when you think about 37 Stitches and Feel Like I Do and It Turned So Cold. So we've had a lot of success with ourselves as this lineup, but it's also just being able to be a part of it and be there with Stevie and Mike and CJ and watch the fans appreciate the fact that they're still fucking doing it and just being a part of that.
Because I have to ask, I've asked about your proudest and the most memorable, but I have to ask also, has there been any regrets from your time that you've been in Drowning Pool? Anything that's come across, or something that's happened while you've been in Drowning Pool that you were kind of regret something that's happened?
My biggest regret is that we took a break. You know, everything happens for reasons I just don't know. You take a line from a Drowning Pool song right there, and I think, you know, that holds true. Everything happens for a reason, and the guys wrote such good music with Jason Moreno, and everything happens for a reason. But I know I said this many times after we parted ways in different interviews that I did. You know, I was abusing the alcohol at the time, and I said so many times that they definitely put up a lot more from me than I ever put up with from them. So I regret letting myself get to a point to where that I even felt like that I was in agreement that we all were like, you know, we should take a break.
Yeah.
And I regret that it ever got to that point where we were all at that point. We just needed to take a break because to this day, my favorite album that we ever did, that I've ever been a part of, I should put it that way. My favorite album that I've ever been a part of in my career was self-titled Drowning Pool record. So I'm happy for the opportunity, but I'm also bummed out that it's taken 12 to 13 years to actually come back with the comeback to that record, you know, the follow-up to that record, because I'm looking forward to it, but it would have been cool to have done it, you know, 10 years ago instead of 13 years later.
It all happens for a reason, as they say. So
there you go.
So last question then. So what's on the plan then for the next, I guess the rest of 2024 for the band?
I'm sorry, what's that?
What's on the plan for the rest of the year for the band, for the rest of 2024? Don't know if you heard that one.
We have a full summer of shows lined up here in the States this year. We were working on, and I'm not going to say it's not going to happen because I'm not sure yet, but we're working on trying to get to the UK. We have been working on trying to get to the UK by the end of this year, but now it looks like there's been a lot of really cool offers for 2025 that we may end up having to hold off until 2025, till summer of 2025 to get over. But as far as our immediate plans, we have a full summer in the U.S. Got the new music that we're going to be releasing here and there, and then I don't know if that's still going to happen as far as bringing Drowning back to the UK in 2024, but it may be that we have to push that off to 2025.
Okay.
But we're just enjoying playing. We're enjoying being on stage together again, so we're taking advantage of the fact that people want to see it. So.
No problem. Well, I'm going to let you get off to your the rest of the afternoon, your sound check and obviously the gig, but just a big thank you, Ryan, for coming on the channel. Obviously, a big thank you to CJ as well, even though he's not here anymore, but thank you for both coming on and having a chat with me on the A.D.K channel.
Oh, no, man, I appreciate your time and your patience. I mean, it's been really hard for us to connect and everything and get to take care of something that I've been wanting to do, and I apologize that it's been such a problem. Man, thank you so much for your time. I know CJ be saying the same thing, but he had to take care of the day's events. There he goes. But the whole fact that people like yourselves keep us in contact with the people out there that allow us to do what we do. Can't thank you enough, man, and thank you for your time today.
No problem. Thank you very much.